Go live. I'll do a little dance. Okay, we're live on Facebook. It says it's still preparing on my laptop, but it says we're live here. So we are live. I'll take that as live.
Okay, cool.
And there I see us. Okay, so hi everybody. If you're a little confused on why we are on my Facebook page instead of Yvette's, we're having some technical issues this morning with her Zoom. So we're using mine. We're gonna go on my end of things. This is all still going to be shared to Yvette's page and group. But if you're commenting and interacting, find the original source, which is this video, and comment there to get the best response from us. Because sometimes it's hard to see the comments when it's in a page that we're not on. But today, I'm so excited to talk about this full moon in particular, because it's happening with the past few moons, and new moons have in general had a lot of like other transits at play as well too. But this one is taking place with some transits that are kind of telling a bigger story than just the full moon in Libra itself. So the full moon in Libra is saying one thing, but when we look at, what's happening with the sun, Chiron, with Venus, with Mars, with the North Node, we see some other kind of pieces coming together that I think are really important to talk about. So if you're on the replay, #replay, any questions, let us know. And before we dive into what we're getting into energetically this full moon, let me go ahead and introduce myself. So for those of you guys who don't know me, I'm Katie Turner. I am an astrologer, a twin flame coach, a spiritual unconditional love supporter. So I help people really kind of dive into knowing who they are, finding self-love, healing, and alignment with all that they want to be in life, whatever that looks like for you. And if you don't know what that looks like for you, finding that alignment as well too, because that's one of the things that our birth chart shows us is where we're meant to grow and what we're kind of meant to lean into. And today I am here with Yvette, the spiritual flower lady, which if I see you're still kind of sharing.
I'm still trying to share this.
Okay, so when she's ready, she'll introduce herself. But until then, I am just super excited. And if you're watching the replay, let me know what your zodiac sign is, because that's something I don't think I've ever asked people here. Some people tell us when we're doing, the elements, they'll say, oh, I'm a Gemini, or oh, I'm a Pisces, or something like that. But if you're on the replay, let me know what your zodiac sign is. And bonus points if you know your moon and your rising sign as well too, because what we'll talk about today will resonate for wherever you are interested in your birth chart. So if you're interested in your emotions and your inner self, the moon is going to be super helpful to listen to. And by that, I mean, if your moon is in Pisces, listen to the water sign. And if it's in, Libra, listen to air, things like that. Your rising sign is your life path and where you're heading. And you can go to Venus for relationships, Saturn for career, North Node for destiny, things like that. So there's plenty you can kind of get out of this live beyond just your sun sign. All right, Yvette, looks like you are ready now.
I finally did it. I just have to go really carefully about where it's going because there's too many options there now. So yeah, as Katie said, it was supposed to be on my page, but we had some technical difficulties with my Zoom not wanting me to go anywhere besides on my phone. So we come over to Katie's page, but you're still getting to see us both, so that's all that really matters. So I'm the spiritual flower lady, and as you know, I work with the energy of flowers and all that I do. So it's getting that connection of the messages that flowers have for you that can help with your well-being and your emotions, and it's there to heal us and get that connection going with you. So when I'm working with them and working with you, it's kind of bridging that gap so that you cross that bridge together with me, and we talk about the flowers that come up for you, the messages and the energy that they have for you, and together we get to relight the fire that's within you. So it could be for your well-being, it's for security, self-esteem, confidence, whatever comes up from the messages of flowers and the messages that I get, spirit messages, channel messages. This is how we work together and raise your awareness with yourself, get that reconnection going, and also get you connected with nature. So we are going to, did you speak about the end of this full moon right already, or? I was so busy.
No, I was waiting for you to introduce yourself before we dive into the full energy. I kind of hinted and teased that, there's something going on there. So this is a full moon in Libra. So full moons are a time of celebration, culmination, harvest. The moon is full and bright. Nighttime is lighter, and we can stay later into the night and have fun and celebrate under that moon. I get this energy of partying under the moon kind of at night. versus new moon, it's pitch black at night. You don't really get any extra light. So energetically, this is a time period of balance and fruition and celebration. And there's some release as well too, because you're at the end of the fruitful cycle. Before, after the full moon, we go down into the new moon and retreat in a sense. Libra energy is relationships, balance, harmony, is what you attract. So it's kind of feminine in nature. It is a masculine sign, which means it's externally strong. It's cardinal, so it seeks out, and it's air, so it's social. So it seeks out this external social energy, and that is of harmony and balance, collaboration. How do we have partnership with someone? How do we talk one-on-one with someone and balance ourselves with them? So during this full moon in Libra, we can really see the culmination of balance and harmony, beauty, of pleasure and enjoyment. We can see as well too, this could be a very good time for relationship progress or shifting things in that kind of area. However, there's more to the story. So we're in Aries season, and the full moon is always opposite the sign. So Libra being relationships, Aries is the self. So we're in Aries season. So right now we're spending this month on creating ourselves, our self-identity, our new beginnings, our personal story. It's this like bravery energy of what is our path and how do we carve it. And Libra is that balance of, okay, who are our partnerships and how do we share those relationships? Within this Aries energy though, the sun is with two other planets, or one asteroid, one planet. So it's with Venus. Venus rules Libra. So the planet that rules this energy of relationship and balance is in the sign of Independence. So already in relationships, we're having to balance our sense of self with other people. And that is a strong kind of factor right now, is like, what is our independent path? And like, how does that merge or work with other people? Can we maintain our sense of self even in the face of relationships? Or do we lose our sense of self? Do we lose our life path? Do we compromise on our life path? Or can we stay firm in that? Can we find where our life paths with other people kind of merge maybe? And then we have Chiron, and Chiron is the wounded healer. So Chiron is a place where it hurts and it doesn't really just kind of go away. It's a painful energy. And so with the sun being conjunct Chiron, conjunct Venus, everybody right now might be kind of feeling a little bit of wounded energy, especially when it comes to things like comparison, your life path, independence, relationships, and partnership, and how you are supported or not supported by other people. And so if right now you're feeling lonely and you're like, I can't really tap into that full moon and Libra energy of celebrating relationships because right now I feel alone. I feel like people aren't, opening up to me, or I can't open up to them, or I'm not sure where I want to go in life. I don't feel like I'm balanced because I don't know what I want to do for myself. That's kind of why, and that's kind of what's happening. So with Chiron, we really just have to embrace the wounds for what they are and not try to change them, just honor them, and keep living. And so within that, can you still find happiness and balance, even if there are things that are not perfectly okay? Even if you are feeling a little lonely or unsure of yourself or lacking a little bit of confidence, like, can you still keep moving forward? Can you still trust yourself to move forward? And Mars rules Aries. So we have Venus ruling Libra, Mars rules Aries. So that's kind of the counter to this Libra energy. And Mars right now is in Gemini conjunct the North Node. So the North Node is where our soul wants us to explore. It's what it wants us to learn how to dive into. And it's something that we haven't really tapped into. And in terms of transiting North Node, it's been like 18 years since collectively we've expanded in Gemini energy, which Gemini is community, your local neighborhood, it's your friendship, it's learning, it's mindset, it's conversation. And if you think about, with the pandemic, we haven't been able to maybe be global like we used to. We do have to kind of think more local, what is around us, what is near us. But when Mars and the North Node are conjunct, it signals a time when we all really benefit from exploring that independent self. So not just the relationship self, but the independent self as well too. So it's really important with this Libra full moon not to lose yourself to other people, but to maintain yourself as well too. This energy being in Gemini, it's curious, it's social. So having conversations with yourself and getting curious about who you are and what you want. And like, I think journaling is a great activity to do right now. And not just journaling how you feel, but maybe finding a list of journal questions and like finding questions you can answer about yourself to kind of explore in that sense. And this energy and Gemini is positively dancing with the moon in Libra. And so where the moon and the sun and the Chiron are kind of having like this push and pull tug of war between personal wounds and like balance and relationships and emotional fulfillment in relationships, this energy of us all really benefiting when we explore curiously our independent self and who we are, that flows really well with this relationship energy. And so to me, it feels almost like if you're having any issues right now with other people, with yourself, if you can stop, journal and ask questions about yourself and explore that energy, that will help with the relationship front. It'll help you because it's going to be that bridge, that communicator of how do you communicate how you're feeling to other people? How do you communicate what your life path is to other people? And so when it comes to Libra and being able to form a relationship with someone, if you are not secure in yourself, it's very, very hard to do. If you can't communicate what's going on within you, it's very hard to do. And so this is kind of like, you know, like energetically we're receiving this opportunity to expand and develop our skills of self-knowing and communication so that we can then share that with other people. And so this is not a full moon where you're going to see straightforward Libra benefits. They're going to be something you have to kind of work with and sit with. So that is the energy that I have for the full moon. What kind of flowers are you receiving for support for that? Because this is something that's intense, and I know the energy that you bring up with the flowers is going to be very helpful with I think counterbalancing some of that.
What's been sort of coming from my mind as you've been speaking there was still that energy that we had at the beginning of the month with the pink lily, with this self-commitment and this conversation with yourself, and so that still seems to be running, and also still with that daffodil energy with this communication, so there's still that sense of communication. And what I love about this full moon is they call it the worm moon. So for me it's this, like, because the worms is now starting to come up to the top of the surface, so this is like, what are you now bringing up? This has really got to move forward now, because spring, as we said, you know, from last week, this is our new year. So it's like, come on now, we've got to get ready to go for this new year. So that self-commitment from the pink lily, the energy is still running there for yourself. You know, that whole conversation thing, how you're dealing with yourself and with other people as well. And that whole sense of, you don't really have to follow the moon cycle to understand that you yourself are going in cycle. So when you know, that self-doubt that comes back up again, like himself, right, I'm about to promote something else now, how do I get that energy up again? And you get that self-doubt coming through again. And so you kind of sort of say, that's another cycle. So what do you do? So you know that you overcome it because you do what you need to do. So it's sometimes you might not have to follow the cycle of the moon, but just follow the cycle of yourself or what you're going through. But I love what you were saying around there, and the crocus flower came up. And that is, this is a flower that let you know you're a spiritual teacher. It's like, and let everybody know that we are all teachers. You don't have to have the certification to say you're a teacher. You don't have to be in front of a school, in a class, you know, you don't have to be a lecturer. It's just know that every time that we're speaking to somebody and communicating with somebody, we are teaching. We're teaching ourselves, we're teaching our children, we're teaching other people we're talking to, because everyone's going to take something. We all have something good to say, no matter what people might say. Whether we're upsetting somebody, arguing, we're teaching, we're communicating, and this is what it wants you to know. It's, you know, sometimes you get the white crocus flower, which is like, you, to me, whenever I get that in a reading with somebody, that's kind of like a spiritual connection that's going on with you, for you to communicate through that way. But this one is for us all to understand that what this energy is going to be about is us understanding that we've got a spiritual connection to yourself. And you don't have to be guru level spirituality. It's just you understanding things. It's probably your connection with nature or your connection with people. It's just knowing that you have an understanding of yourself and with other people. You can communicate. And if you can communicate from a place of love, and you're trying to explain a situation to somebody, they might not take it that way, but you're communicating it with your, you know, from your best part of you, whether it's an argument or not, it's coming up as an emotion that's firing up in you. So how they receive it is going to be totally, say, up to them, but you want them to receive it as a form of trying to understand where I'm coming from. So the crocus flower is about sharing everything that we've got to share with ourselves and with other people, and not holding back. And that one thing again, it's like, just let it rise up. There's no wrong, there's no right. If you've said something that's upset somebody, the right is that you've let it go from yourself, which is an emotion, and the wrong will be that it might have hurt them. But that's not your wrong. That's the way that they've taken it. So it's just letting it, this is like releasing our emotions. And this is what the crocus flower wants us to sort of be in that energy around this moon, is just release things, just let them come up to the surface, meet the warmth of the spring air, and just let it unravel.
I love that. I think that like the way like this, the energy that I get as you're talking is just this beautiful like reminder to trust yourself, and not trust yourself because of what you're doing and who you are like externally, but just like spiritually, who you are as a spirit, as a heart, as you know, the love you have within yourself. Like trust that, because that will be what you need to be. And I think that's I love that energy. So I'm very, very excited to dance that crocus flower, because it feels nice. I think that's it. It's this gentle support for a tough time period for people. When we think of that Chiron like energy, this is one of the most painful, days of the year, because that Chiron Sun conjunction is the spotlight is straight on where we might have wounds. So I think that trust in yourself, trust in spirit, trust in the fundamental of who you are is really good energy, and I'm gonna take that and run with it.
It's like to open the wounds. If you put a plaster on something and you open it back up, that's kind of means it's not healing. That you sort of have to revisit it for it to sort of heal. Get disinfect it, get new bandages on it, clean it up a bit. So revisiting, it's just a revisiting. That's just, I think, the cycles that we're talking about. It's, you have to revisit some things until you sort of get it right. Not perfect, but just revisit into you're chipping away at it.
And then sometimes too, I think that like when I revisit things, it's not always that it wasn't fully healed, but my relationship to it has changed. And so it's about exploring how is my relationship to what happened, or those wounds I had, how has that shifted and changed? And maybe there's more healing from that level. But in the time period where I did heal, it was what I needed to heal. And it was kind of like completed in that sense back then. But then as you move through life and different, phases of your life, you get different perspectives and different relationships to everything about who you are. So I love that gentle reminder. It's okay to revisit things. And I think that like that's one thing that I find a lot of times with like clients I work with, especially with like twin flame clients, they're like, I've already finished the healing, I don't need to do anymore. And it's like, well, it's still there for a reason. Let's dive in. Let's heal a little bit more. Which is totally okay. So I love that energy. Yay for the crocus flower, for this beautiful Libra full moon. And you have a Libra moon as well. So this is your energy right now. This is your.
I'm glad you keep reminding me.
You're also Libra rising. So this time period for you is a lot about like personal self. Well, okay. So I think we're ready to go ahead and start diving into the elements and breaking it down. So we're going to start with air signs because it is a air full moon. So air signs are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. I'm typing that down on this thing. It's going to be as my personal profile, I noticed, because I'm not on my business page. Just so everybody knows, it's still me. It's named Katie Turner, which I have Katie Turner in my business page too, so that works. But so air signs are those that are social, communicative, relationship oriented, idea oriented, intelligent, conceptual kind of people. But for you guys, this full moon is happening in your fire houses. So that's going to be the first house of identity, new beginnings, life purpose, rebirth, and kind of that like innocent newborn energy of when you're entering into something new. Your fifth house of creativity, self-expression, your heart, your present moment, your light, what you want to shine to the world, your happiness. And then your ninth house, which is big picture philosophy and truth and optimism and your vision for yourself and the adventurous spirit of where you want to take things. And so with this full moon being in these fire houses, it is a time period for you guys to allow yourselves to receive and soak in like the nutrients of those areas of your life. And so if you are struggling with so Libra is the first house, especially if you're struggling with, like trusting your life path. That these Aries wounds that I was talking about, you know, you are feeling that. You're feeling, you know, wounded around bravery and self-confidence and life path and whatnot. Can you slow down, and then rather than trying to do, which is weird because, you know, normally this is cardinal energy, it's action oriented, but instead, like, receive. Like, there has been so much happening in the past month or so. You mentioned, you know, flowers in the beginning of the month, the pink lily, and I think you said the daffodil, you know, supporting this energy as well too. Like, there's things that we've been moving through for the past month or two, even, you know, since January, around our life path and what we're doing, what we're building for ourselves. And so it's like, at this point in time, can you stop, slow down, and allow all of what you have had work for you to just seep in and to kind of soak in? So it's not like what you have to change, but rather, can you evaluate what you already have? Can you evaluate what is working for you and kind of build from there? I just noticed that my comment didn't go onto Facebook. So that's fun, and it distracted me as well too. Let me go to my actual business page and see if that will help, or if it's there now. But yeah, so it's kind of like, and so if you're not Libra, if you know you're Gemini or you're Aquarius, then it's the creative self, or it's your vision and your perspective in life. Like, I get this energy of there's so many ideas and advice and examples, especially, you know, being on a social media world. You know, our human brains are not prepared to cope with this many examples of human beings and seeing this many human beings. You know, we have access to billions of people through Instagram. That's not something we've ever had in human history. We haven't evolved to be prepared for that. So all of these kind of bombardments of ideas and people telling you what you should do, or you seeing how people are doing things, and you're like, wow, I wish I was like that, or I wish I could have that kind of happiness, or I wish I could have that kind of adventure in my life, or I wish I could, you know, be that sure of myself in my life path. Like, all of those areas, you get all of those messages. And so it's like, if you keep moving forward as is, you're going to collect more messages, and then you're going to start feeling like, oh my God, I have all of this information coming in. I'm not acting on it. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm in the wrong zone. I'm in the wrong thing. And so it's like, stop the idea train for a little bit and just soak with what is there, soak with what you've got, and start sorting through that. Are there ideas that are unhelpful? Toss them out. Are there ideas you really like? Okay, cool. Plant them and make them, you know, a staple of what you're building for yourself, and kind of find some organization with what you're doing. Otherwise, you're going to start feeling overwhelmed. You're going to start beating yourself up for, you know, not being able to be these fiery energies that you're in the space of wanting to be. And you being air energy, being social, you are more tuned into other people's opinions and ideas, and you have your own ideas as well too. In life, we're gonna have way more ideas than we'll ever be able to articulate and convey to the world. Making peace with that and finding out what you want to focus on will be helpful, and sorting through the noise so you can turn to maybe the more physicality side of fire. You know, being able to forge something in fire, you're able to make something, you're able to create something. And if you're wanting to see a physical manifestation of something, working through the idea energy so you can zone in on that, I think is big energy that I'm getting for you guys. What kind of flower is going to support our air signs during this beautiful full moon, where they get to receive, like, just soak it up?
Oh, we've got the carnation, which is asking us to trust.
Perfect.
But it's that whole thing. When you were speaking, it was like there was this case of just catch up, get everything that's been going on with you, just kind of take a step back now, let it catch up, tap into all the different sensories that you've got going on. What does it mean to you, and digest it. But the carnation is about trusting ourselves. It's trusting that, you know, you said it's a social energy for the social element. And this is, the carnation is those people around you. I would love to call this the conversation flower, because it's always on the, you know, little cafes and stuff like that. So it's the cheap flower that they put in the middle. It might be a cheap flower. You can get it at a good price, but it's just as powerful as any other flower. So it is about taking parts of the conversations you hear. Like, the message on this card is about people who are surrounding you, your earth angels. So there are people that we are surrounded by who are, you know, could just be, I'm saying vampires, just grabbing on and sucking on what they can get from you, and there's people who are actually around you telling you and advising you and giving you great information. So you need to sort of slow down everyone who's been telling you things or doing things for you, see who the people are that you actually feel that it's a worthy thing. That kind of, when you're hearing what they're saying or taking what they're saying, where does it hit you? If it puts it in your, say, your stomach area, like your solar plexus or your sacral chakra, and it makes you feel uncomfortable and you get that nervous energy, then you want to, as you're saying, weed it out. You want to let that one go. You want to hold on and take in and digest those ones that make you feel good. And the stomach, the feeling you get in your stomach is that butterfly, that's excitement. So what are people saying to you, and what are you saying to yourself that gets you excited? We were saying earlier on, don't we, that, you know, we have so many ideas, and then when we overthink them, we kind of like squash them. But if you have this crazy idea, it makes you feel wonderful, you know, even if it's just to call somebody because you got excited. Actually, I'm going to call them now. Just do it. Sorry about that. I'm trying to sort that one out. If you overthink it, then it gets complicated for you and you start doubting yourself and things like this. So the carnation is all about trusting what you feel. This is also a good flower for soulmates. So if somebody's looking for, thinking that they're found their soulmate or trying to find their soulmate, this carnation is also one for that, and about fidelity as well. So somebody out there might need to know that the person they have got is faithful, is the right one for them. So there's that side to this carnation as well. But it really wants you to trust in what you feel, what makes you feel good when you're taking that information from other people and from yourself as well.
That. So you said the carnation is like a cheaper flower. Is that because it's more resilient and easier to grow? Or, I mean, if you don't know, that's okay. But
I don't know about the growing side of things, as I keep saying, I'm not a great gardener or farmer of garden flowers, but when you sort of compare what you can get in shops, they're a common flower that you can find off the shelf all year round, can't you? There's carnations, chrysanthemums. You go into like supermarket and you pick up flowers. These ones are always going to be there, and a lot of people dismiss them because they think they're kind of like a cheap flower. But when they actually open up, you can get spray carnations and the full single carnations, but there are different types of them, and some of them actually even open up to look like garden roses. So they are beautiful, but they are flowers that come in so many different colors, and they are lovely. And I think a lot of people also associate them being with grandmas and things like this, but they are flowers you do find on cafe tables, you know, the coffee bars, because they are cheap to sort of buy if they're people looking for the energy of flowers in their place. So they are good.
I like that. And it's also my best friend, she's a Gemini, which is air sign energy. That's her favorite flower as well too, and it's been her favorite for years. And that conversational energy, like that's what Gemini is. It's that conversation. How can we chat with people? And I love that. I was thinking too, so if they are easier to grow, it could just be like resiliency and strength. You know, they're not very as delicate and vulnerable. So maybe there's something that air signs can tap into around that utilitarian, like, or I don't know if that's the right word. I don't know if that's, that could be a word that means something completely different. They're your resiliency and your strength, and whatever these ideas are, you can ground yourself in yourself, and
they're really long lasting flowers as well. So that could be
awesome. That's great energy to have. I like that a lot. Okay, so then if we have any questions about air signs, let us know. Otherwise, I think we are ready to go ahead and move into water signs, which are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. So our water signs are the emotional, sensitive, intuitive, feeling-based energies. They go into the depths, and I think that, air signs and water signs are not considered similar, but I think there is some similarity in there as well too. So like air signs, water comes right after air. So air is like the conversational energy being established. Water is like, what's happening if we take that deeper and we take that to a deeper level? So I mean, it's intimacy. So Libra being partnership and marriage. Scorpio is, okay, how are we going to merge? How are we going to share our lives together? So it's like that energy of going deeper with whatever area you're working with. And so water signs are going to be pretty sensitive, pretty emotionally, got a lot of depth there. for you guys, this energy is going to be in your water houses. And so this full moon is right kind of not like necessarily at home, but in the area of your chart where it feels like it's similar to what you're already used to, but you are mixing in a little bit of the air energy with that water energy. So it's going to be in your fourth house, which is going to be home, family, your past, your roots that you're growing in, you know, your emotional support system, things like that. Your eighth house, which is intimacy, psychology, healing, transformation, and then 12th house, which is your spirit, reflection, solitude, review, you know, your subconscious energy. And so the full moon happening in these areas, being in this full moon, being in an air sign, I get this energy of like, how are you engaging in these areas of your life in a way where you are like, I get this image of like shaking something so like bits and pieces kind of fall off, and like almost like if you have a shoe and it's got clumps of mud on it because you're out gardening and working on your flowers, and then you come in and you hit your shoes together and all that falls off. I kind of get like that kind of energy of this. Is like this full moon, being that it's a full moon, you know, we're all in this receptive stage. We're all able to receive this. So we don't have to try so hard to get there. But if you're open to it, there is this energy of being able to kind of hit our shoes and be able to just knock things off that are no longer serving in those areas of emotional support, intimacy, you know, our subconscious and things like that. So there might be some really big healing moments. There might be a lot of depth, a lot of even tears, feelings kind of coming out, being that, you know, the sun's on Chiron, there might be some wounds that are coming to the surface. This might be a more like healing based full moon for you guys. But if you can engage in that energy, if you can engage in shaking things up, because that's the benefit of air signs, is it moves things around. And so if you can move things around a little bit, whether that's through journaling by yourself or talking to a friend who is supportive, even talking to a therapist or a healer or a reader of some sort, you know, being able to just talk to someone and have someone hold space for you and just, you know, loosen some of those ideas up and shake some of those things up in a way to find a better balance for yourself as well too. And allow that to kind of balance you out as well. So like the energy I get from that as well too is like balance. Sometimes, you know, we think of like a scale, so it's two sides being balanced, but balance would also be one where how centered is it? So like I think about like doing yoga, and in yoga, your core is really what you use to balance yourself. And there's times where you'll zip your legs up. So you're literally just like one stick, and you have to balance yourself in that space. And so to me, it's like less about two pillars being balanced, but more about like within the one self that you are, within, you know, what is the one thing you want to work towards? What is the one thing you want to experience in life? And can you allow yourself to be balanced towards that energy? Can you allow yourself to kind of, whatever is being released, trust that it's moving you closer to that core of what it is you want? If you're not sure what the core is you want, sit with yourself and evaluate in those three areas I named. So the home and emotional self, the intimacy and healing and spirituality and a subconscious, like in each of those areas, you may not find all of them is important to you, maybe one or two, but in those areas, what are you really wanting? What is your center point that you want to have in these areas? And then from there, allow this moon to shake things up that no longer serve. Your thoughts will kind of go through processes as well to release things. That journal is going to be super helpful as well, just to kind of reestablish your center. And because it's a full moon, it's receiving, you know, that will be relatively easy as long as you don't run away from it or avoid it. It'll be relatively easy.
So it's interesting. Not much of a shuffle on there. Oh, we've got the snapdragon for yes.
What a colorful and fun flower.
I love that. And this is one about releasing the anger. What I love about this, because you're talking about that center part being your balance. This reminds me, because snapdragon's quite straight, although it's got little bits that come off of it. It is about being kind of upright. And I'm still referring to this worm, because when worms come out, when you see when they get to the top and they sort of like, where should I go now? They sort of stand up and go like, it's a bit like that little meditation, if you're hypnotizing a snake, it's like, where should we go? And you know, kind of like own the ways up. But the snapdragon is about us releasing anger, and this is like definite solar plexus and sacral chakra energy flower. So it's about connecting, as we were speaking earlier, you know, that this daffodil is getting us to connect and speak from a place of love within us. The crocus flower I was speaking about, wasn't it? When getting your message across. With the snapdragon, it's a lovely flower that helps you to release the anger. So again, it's releasing emotions within us, but it's connecting to, you know, you go to the core, your higher self. So you're kind of balancing all your chakras and your energy, just kind of tuning it into one area. And that's what the snapdragon is kind of there for them to do. It's, you know, rise up, where you're going to go, get all your thoughts together. It's like putting all your baggage into one suitcase and then carrying it with you. But as you're going along the way, as you're saying with the shoes, you're shaking off the bits you don't want. So it's like you're going on a journey. So you stop at the first station and you go, right, I don't need those trainers because I'm not going to do any running. Let's get rid of those. Just making your load a little bit lighter, and you're moving along, and you're just going to like let things go as you're moving along, and then you're going to reach this higher place within yourself. And that is with this, if you're feeling this anger towards somebody, and it can also be with yourself, where you feel frustrated with yourself, if you're not completing things, not doing what things that you want to do, or saying to somebody what you wanted to really truly say to them. It is like releasing stuff. So you're speaking from, with this flower particularly, it's always about connecting to your higher self and speaking from that higher place, because as they say, with your higher self knows nothing but love for you, and is kind of pure and pure of mind. So what message you're going to get from there is going to come out quite pure, and you're going to communicate that out to people. So that's what the message is for you there, is that center point, realign yourselves, and then just speak from that place of love. With the daffodil, it's speaking from that place, from your heart space. But with the snapdragon, it's this higher self, which you're connecting to everything else within you. So that's what that's there for.
I like that. I'm 2 out of my 3 big 3 are water signs. So I'm a lot of water energy. And when I tap into that, like I have been feeling kind of angry lately. And it's been like a self-protective thing. Is like in those relationships where things maybe are not equal or fair, and there's that Chiron wound energy. The anger is my way of like holding people maybe at a distance so I don't get hurt in a sense. Do you have any like tips or suggestions on how to release that anger, especially, you know, if it's coming from that place of protection where it's like, I don't want to let go of it, because if I do, am I, you know, like giving away my power? Am I going to get hurt because of that? So, I mean, is it, you know, expressing your anger to someone? Is it writing a letter and burning? Like, do you have any ideas on,
there's lots
I know the higher self energy, but
yeah, there's lots of ways. So this flower in particular is like connecting to your higher self for you to get that. So the message you're going to be putting out is kind of be from that place of love. But when you're consciously thinking about it, if you're angry, then you release that anger. So that could mean you are going to be shouting at somebody. And sometimes people go, well, if you're spiritual, you shouldn't be shouting, being angry at anybody. But it's emotions, and we all have all these emotions. We're human, and human beings have all these intricate, messed up, lots of emotions that we kind of move through on a daily basis. So to shout is a way of releasing, because even if you're shouting at anger at somebody and they're kind of calm and being in the place of love, that's not going to hurt them. That's going to be like, okay, I receive it, I hear you. And sometimes it's that yin and yang. You're feeling a way, you're feeling a certain way, like you said, you're trying to protect yourself, but the person that you are protecting your emotions from is not feeling the same way that you might be feeling. So sometimes you're looking at a reflection, it's just bouncing back off at you because they're not really in that space. And they could be in this like, I love her to bits, but you're like, well, I've got to save a bit for myself to protect myself. But like, what are you protecting yourself from? So if you just expressed, if it came out as an angry thing, then if they're angry, then they're going to take it as anger, and anger together is just going to create more tension. But the fact of the matter, you're releasing it. So to release it just brings it out, takes it up into the air. So you, as couples can be, you can just walk away and both think, oh, we've done it, and you, that little bit of tension still there, and then you can come around again. I always say it's the universe playing, it's setting us up, you know, putting our pieces into place, and you come around again, and we're talking about these cycles that you come around and you go, right, okay, somebody's going to say they're sorry. And whoever it is doesn't mean they're the weaker person. It's just open up another time for you to have a little bit of a dialogue. But if you keep going around in the circles, and you need to think, what can we do now to really stop this? So it's, if you're shouting at somebody in anger, in my way, it's you're releasing an emotion, so it needs to explode. Volcanoes, Mother Earth, she ruptures all the time, and people go, oh my God, why, killed millions of people, but that's just her way of shaking things up and releasing what needs to be released. So we can go off, but if you're constantly going off as in a volcano erupting all the time, then you need to sort of look at yourself, why am I erupting like that all the time? What is it? And it could just be you thinking you're protecting yourself, but you're protecting yourself against what? Something that maybe happened in another relationship that's not necessarily going to happen in this relationship. And so reassess what is going on in this relationship. Is it you or is it the other person? And then it's just working out things for yourself. Let's keep saying, if this cycle keeps coming back around to the same pivoting point, then why? What's going on? And just look at it, readdress it.
Like that. And I think that fits right in with the water energy being like a deep transformation. That's not necessarily like, if that is something you're dealing with, like me, that won't be like a very easy thing to shift. You are going to have to sit with it and dive in a little bit to what's going on here below the surface. I think that's
as you're saying that, it's what we did actually yesterday. I did a bit of a forest bathing session with somebody, and one of the points was invite yourself to look outside and see the movement, what's going on outside. So to one side of me, I could see that the clouds is dark on one side is moving, and the clouds on the other side are quite still. So this is just, sometimes we're moving, sometimes we need to be still. And then the wind started blowing and the trees started to move a little bit faster, and they're in a gentle kind of way. So it's just how we are emotionally. Our emotions are up and down all the time. And then these birds are erratically running around our garden. So it just shows you different sorts of energy. You can get wound up and explode, and then there comes a calm, the calm after the storm. Just with the waters gets rapid, and then it just trickles off into a gentle flow. So it's just us kind of look at yourself with the energy that you see outside. The winds are swirling around, so you've had your emotion, you've exploded, and now you kind of be calm. If you're not calm after it, then that's when you need to sort of check in.
Okay. I like that. I like it a lot. I don't know if you remember me talking about like my Mars retrograde. So Mars represents anger in a lot of ways. And so like for me, when I get angry, it goes inwards. Like that's always anger is always a learning point for me. So
yeah,
I appreciate
you need to just let it out, bring it up and let it out.
Yeah, I appreciate your insight there. All right. So unless we have questions for water signs or anything else you want to say.
Comments? Can you see any comments, or is that just...
I see.
I don't even see your comments.
You don't? Okay. Yeah. I wonder, this says 2 comments. I only see my 2. I don't see any other comments. But if you're on the replay, feel free to comment and let us know you're here. I know it in like the States, it's Sunday morning, so people maybe are spending time with their family and not as engaged.
Okay, so on your page, I can see this. I can see.
Okay, cool. But yeah, so replay, feel free to comment and let us know what's going on. If you have anything that, like, if you share some of your personal experience with this energy or something like that, we can come through and more specifically support as well too. So I think like in the messages here, they're general, they're for everybody. But like you saw with the water sign, I was able to ask Yvette, like, for me personally as a water energy, this is what I've been experiencing. What are your, tips or suggestions there? So if that's something that you're dealing with where you're like, hey, I'm an air sign and I feel like, yeah, I relate totally, but I don't know how to support myself in that space, let us know. And we can help you there. So next though is the fire signs. Our beautiful Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Fire signs are the passionate, the self-expressive, the creative, the fiery, beautiful energy. Coming after water signs, water being that deep transformation, it's the rebirth. It's the newness. It's that spark of fire, that excitement of like, let's go, let's do something different, let's create something, let's lighten our load and just have fun and enjoy and express. So for the fire signs, this energy is in the air houses. And so that's going to be the 3rd house of communication, community, friendship, learning, mindset, the 7th house of relationship, marriage, partnership, compromise, one-on-one balance, and the 11th house, which is society, the collective, humanity, networking, friend groups, social groups, clubs, epiphanies, awakenings, and stuff like that. So for this being a full moon in those areas, you may notice sometimes with full moons, like culminations of things, maybe some relationships ending or stages of relationships ending and transforming. But really what I'm feeling around this is similar energy to what I've gotten for like the water, like wanting to shake things up, but it's not as heavy as the water energy of having to shake things up, of it going more of a deeper inward energy. So this to me is like, how do the people in your life, the conversations you're having, the relationships you form, whether you talk to them or not as well too. So like, you know, community and society, I might not ever talk to people who live in the society that I'm in, but I still have a relationship with them. I still share something with them. There's still a collective going on. So it's like, how are these relationships, how are people in life shaking things up for you and moving energy? It feels almost like you're talking a little bit like the stagnant energy versus the movement energy. Like it feels a little bit like there's some stagnation with fire signs. I think part of that is because, you know, we just came out of a winter period, and winter is the only season that doesn't have a fire sign in it. And it is the season of, you know, retreat, hibernation, slowing down, coolness, coldness, like going within and shutting off. And so it's like, okay, we're in springtime now. It's Aries season. We're ready to go with this fire again. But in order to get fully going, we got to like shake things up, crack our bones, and kind of just like come into being. And the social energy can help inspire that. But it does feel like as well too, I know you've said with the water signs, like the higher, like the whole body energetic line, or maybe it was air signs. I was talking about core. Yeah, it's water signs. And you're saying like, you know, this whole space. I even see for fire signs, like the spinal column, like I just want to crack it, not like a way to break anything, but just the whole spinal system, just crack it open and shift it and bring it into alignment. And so even just doing like a very quick chakra balancing intentions, you know, thing. It doesn't have to be this deep transformational, like watery experience, because you're not dealing with those watery energies, but just, you know, okay, my root chakra, align and balance, sacral chakra, align and balance, all the way up to the crown chakra, align and balance. Just set those intentions as just kind of a way to reignite flame and to refresh the energy. And that being kind of an important way. There's no pressure really on like building something. It's not earthy either with like Capricorn, if you know, you have to build this and have this done and take care of these requirements, but it's rather just like to cultivate the happiness you want to have and the vibes you want to put out into the world and the things you want to experience. Just kind of releasing and shaking off those wintry blues will help. And it really is just kind of like, can you crack all yourself open and just, I know I said the chakra system, but now I see like the body, like, can you roll your hands and wiggle your fingers and then roll your arms and your elbows and just kind of do a body practice where you do kind of sensationally touch or move or awaken like every part of your body and go from like right now I'm going down on my legs and my butt's kind of wiggling in my chair and my legs and my knees and my feet. So it's kind of like, let a wave of energy move through your whole body and just kind of each body part moving and changing that. When we do things like that in a physical sense, it translates to emotions, it translates to spirit, it translates to energy. So even just doing a physical, you know, movement like that can wake things up for you and can release things for you. So I think in that process too, once things are released, then you decide to do what you want to do with them and how you want to treat them. But just, yeah, like just a good stretch after waking up from a long winter and stepping into you.
That feels like that coming out again, like the worm rising up.
Yeah.
So that does feel right. Oh, okay, here we go. You got the orange lily, which is about kind of lifting up your thoughts. And that's that flame color, that orange. As you're speaking, it's almost like containing the fire within you, so that this fire that is just kind of raging like a furnace. I always reference like a boiler when it's just igniting and you know that it's doing its work. You just see that little flame in the just in a little window, but then sometimes you hear it raging because it's doing its work. And this feels like bring it into, just contain it right for now. Because you talk about the beginning, bringing everything, letting everything that you've been doing for the past month catch up with you now. And yeah, we're releasing. This is a time for releasing, but it's like, okay, so your flame was out this wide and you're burning everywhere, and now let's just bring it back in. Just imagine like a candle, the gentle candle, just flicker, and the flame that goes to wherever the breeze is sort of taking it, doing that little dance. As you're talking about that movement of the dance, it's just feeling like that. Bring back all that energy, bring back, turn the thermos down, let it just come back to this little flame. To know that the boiler is alight and it's ready to ignite. But just for now, let's just all come together, bring all your senses back together. This is like, when you're doing meditation, you say, I call back my energy from back to me now. So you can sort of, every part of you is coming back. So this could be a calling back of all your energy. If you've been doing lots of meditations, helping lots of people, if you're doing healing or just speaking to a lot of the people, you might be on lots of Zoom calls. Our energy just goes out everywhere. It's just sent out to wherever who we're talking to. So it's like, today, what I'm going to do? I'm going to call it all back. Just bring it all back and just kind of realign yourself, and just even light a candle. If you're going to do an moon releasing tonight, light a candle and just see how straight that candle is going to be, and just kind of feel that energy of the flame and just move, just bring it all back to you. Think of everything you've done throughout the whole month, who you've spoken to, that's really kind of impacted you. So you want to bring back the energy of not if you've had disagreements or arguments, or you release some horrible words to yourself, you don't want to bring those back because you let them out. So just let the universe take care of those. It's just bring back. It's almost like, I've been doing a lot of weaving, so this has just come up to me now. You're weaving back to your center point. So everything you've done, let me tuck that into here, and let me weave that into that, because we're all one now. So bring it all back to this oneness.
I like that. And I think too, like the image of like that candle flame, the beauty of fire is it expands easily. And so if you're bringing yourself all back in and you're like, well, I don't want to be a small candle flame, I want to be a roaring wildfire, like that small candle flame can start that roaring wildfire.
Yeah,
so
that's it. So it's just bring it back.
Yeah,
just bring back the energy, and then you're ready to burn it again, and let it rip.
Yeah, but it's like just that restart, that recentering, that refresh, that beautiful rebirthing energy, which I think is needed. Like I said, this is winter's the only season that doesn't have fire energy. It's been a minute.
Orange lily is all about this kind of counting your blessings as well. Because I was saying to you, bring back not the things that were negatively said, just bring back the small things. It could be the tiniest blessing to replace that major outburst that you had. Just bring it all back and weave it all together. So think of small, you might not think you've done anything, but this is a chance to, as we keep saying, it's like let's recalibrate right now. And it's like, think of everything that you've done. If you can't think of everything for a month, because a month is a long time, because sometimes we can't remember what we did yesterday. Some things will jump up at you, and it's like those big nuggets, those golden nuggets. Just get those together, and at least you're taking note of something that's gone on. Because you might have done something right at the beginning of the month, it just seems like it was so, was that this month or was that last month? But look back, just if you've got a calendar, look back at what you have done and go, yeah, actually I've done quite a bit, and those were good bits. Let me bring them into myself and remind myself of what we've done. Yeah.
I also like to do sometimes, like I have a journal where I write in like every morning and evening, a couple of lines. And sometimes I skip days, but I'll go back and rewrite, like I'll write what, retroactively. And I'll look at messages that I've talked to people, because we usually talk about our day at some point in time. So I'll go back and look at that as well too. So if you don't have the best memory at times of what you've done, like look for the tangible proof, the conversations you've had, the things you've done. If you have a business page on Facebook, look and see all the things you posted. Like you're active, you're showing up, you're doing all these things. Like those are things to celebrate. I love that energy. Good old fire signs. Do we have any other messages or questions for or from fire energy? If not, we'll go ahead and move into last but not least, earth signs. So earth signs are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. They are the practical, building oriented signs. They're physically, oriented as well too. But then I don't want to just kind of make people think that it's just boring, like business work, money, thing like that, because earth is so fruitful and abundant. We have crystals, we have gold, we have silver, we have flowers, we have trees, we have mountains, we have rivers, we have oceans, which I know rivers and oceans are water sign energy, but like if you think about the whole of earth and the ecosystem we live on, this planet being earth, like it's those natural balance cycles, and earth is all we need for life, and it contains everything we need for life. And so earth energies are these like life supporting, very magical signs. They also do care about the practicality. They care about having a roof over their head and having a career to, make sure that they have stable paycheck, and, making sure that they're working towards what they want to work towards. Their routines and rituals are important. But there's more to it as well than just that. But for earth signs, the Libra full moon is going to be in earth houses. So it's going to be the second house of personal resources. That includes self-esteem, your commitments, your values, and the money and assets you have. Your sixth house, which is your work, your routine, your body, your health, your self-development, your growth, your day-to-day life. And then the 10th house, which is Capricorn energy. That it won't be for Capricorns in the 10th house. The 10th house is like ambitions, your career, the things that you are most proud of, your public reputation, delayed gratification, what you have to really build towards, authority. Sometimes in the 10th house, we feel the pressure to kind of perform and show up in those areas. And so for you guys being earth energy and having this Libra full moon in these earth houses, despite it being a Libra full moon, it does feel like it's a little bit more of a solitude energy. And it's like, I get this energy of how are you balancing for yourself? How are you balancing off of yourself? How are you meeting yourself in these spaces? Because like out of all the other signs, there was a degree of excitement and movement, and not that there's not for earth signs, but to me, it's like, I just get this energy of tending to things, which fire signs also had to tend to things, but they're tending to opening up and calling back their energy and nurturing that flame. But with this earth energy, I'm getting like tending to your tiredness, tending to fatigue, tending to like where you mind, body, soul need rest. And that being where that balancing kind of comes off the play. So maybe, the second house being personal commitments and values and resources, the balance that would be the eighth house, which is intimacy and release and emotional, transformation. And so maybe there's some energy there for you to kind of counterbalance if you've been struggling financially, or you've been really struggling to understand your self-worth. Maybe you can balance that out by releasing something, letting go of something. If you're doing the sixth house energy, if you're trying to make things work for you, you're trying to grow and develop, you're trying to get your routine to kind of work for you, and you're having an issue, you're tired in that area. The 12th house, spirituality and alone time and like just reflection, meditation, relaxation. Maybe that's your counterbalance. Maybe that's what you need to kind of mitigate all of the growth you're trying to get for yourself. Or if you're kind of in a mode where you're feeling really critical of yourself, like unconditional love could be that balance or energy. Or if you're in that group of career and securing tomorrow for yourself, the opposite of that is the fourth house, which is emotional support and home and just being as you are, not having to grow and become someone better. It's just like, this is who I am, this is enough. So like that being your balancer as well too. It's just like, can you accept yourself and just embrace who you are where you're at? So using some of the watery energies to counterbalance the earthly things you've been doing as a way to find relaxation and rest. Because when I tap into this earth energy, like it feels very depleted. It feels very tired. It feels just very fatigued. And I mentioned, winter has no fire signs, but winter starts in an earth sign. And so like the whole winter, it does put the pressure on the earth signs, because you're going into a period where, if we kind of now we have grocery stores, so we have food year round, but like there times in human history where in the winter period we would have to think ahead and make sure we're planning ahead and having food that we preserved or we put away that we can eat or something like that. And so like resources are not as readily available and we're having to be in conservation mode, and that can trigger the earth energy of needing and wanting security and needing to have that balance. And so if you've done what you could to make it through that winter period and you made it to the other side, but you're tired, and then we're in springtime and everybody's like, yeah, let's go, let's rebirth, let's do it. Relax, tend to the self, replenish yourself, and you being earth energy, as soon as you're recharged, you're gonna keep building. Like you're building slowly but surely, you're building. And so it's just give yourself that counterbalance to relax, to rest, to rejuvenate, take a bath, cry it out, talk to someone. I even see like massage therapy, like doing what you can to just relax, release, and be there for yourself. I'm very curious to see what the flower is supporting.
Yeah, I am too. So many flowers are jumping up in my mind. Okay, so I was literally thinking like the daisy energy, that relaxation and stuff like that. But this one's come up for it's the sweet pea.
Oh.
So the sweet pea is about letting you know that your wishes are coming true. So what you've been working on, this whole sense of now, we're saying that then you bring everything back to, one of yourself, just tune in. With this, it's the sweet pea is about you talking about relaxation, and I'm literally saying that you need to sort of, it's like lying down and just taking time out. So when you're lying down and just, connect with your breathing, just that whole couple of deep breaths in and out 3 times, just to sort of center yourself, and then just breathe and just be with that breathing of your body. Again, we're looking back at what we've done for the month and things like this, but this is words come up to acceptance for receptivity. So when you're in this receiving, bless you,
thank you.
When you're in this sense of receiving, then you're being open to receiving. So this sweet pea is like lie down, take your time out, and be open to receiving, because stuff that you've been asking for, you've been on the go so much that you haven't slowed down for us to sort of let you know that this has been done for you and this has been done for you. It's like you've got a bunch of letters that come through the letterbox and you've not opened them because you think they're going to be bills and asking for money. It's like, open those letters because there is something there for you. It might not be what you want to hear, but it could be an answer to a question that you've been longing for. It could be your divorce papers arriving through it. You're just something that you've been putting off is coming through for you. So take time out, lie down. And that sweet pea energy again is like, we're hearing you, but you've got to take time out to be able to receive what we're doing and receive the messages. And this is a case of also take note. It's a bit like the orange lily, getting you to count your blessings. This is the sweet pea, is getting you to see signs. It's like, take notice of these signs. Some people see feathers and coins. How many coins did you see in front of you the other day that you just walked past and ignored? And like someone's just dropped like a bunch of pennies on the floor. These are signs. You saw a bunch of feathers. They're signs. You've seen a message sort of on a billboard caught your eye. It's like the flowers catch your eye. What did you see? Why did that catch your eye? It's like, catch up now. Let's take a bit of a lie down, catch your breath, be in that sense of connecting with your breathing and see what came through for you. So again, look back at the month. As you said, maybe take time out, relax your mind, and scan through social media at some of the posts that you thought, I do this a lot, like, oh, that sounds interesting, I'm going to tag that one and go back to reading it, and never do, until sometimes later on, Facebook says, you've saved this video, but you haven't watched it. So it's like, okay, go back. Why did you click on that? Why did it catch your attention? Because there's a message in there for you that you need to hear. So really take time, if it is to go back over notes that you've written, just breathe in and take notes of the signs. Just take notes of what you have seen and what's been going on for you.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I think that's beautiful energy. Whenever you mention sweet pea, I get a memory of little young me and like the very first exposure I ever had to like scented lotion. My mom got sweet pea lotion from like Bath and Body Works, and like we still love Bath and Body Works in this family and stuff, but we've evolved so much in scents. But that was the very first scent that I've ever had. So every time you mention sweet pea, I think of that lotion and like the bottle that it came in and like all of that kind of energy and whatnot. And then I think of like being earthy energy, even like putting lotion on is something that's it's this tactile way to tend to yourself. And so if you can't get to like do too much, just relaxation in that way. But I do love as well like the energy of like it's the message of the CP of like the things you're wishing for.
That sense you're saying the earth signs reconnecting, that is your shutting down, is that reconnecting. It's like, when we say you want to ground yourself, go out into your garden or something, just stand barefoot. If you can't get out, it's just coming back is regrounding yourself, because you're catching back with all your senses. You're gaining and weaving everybody. Let's all get back together and see what this sense, you went out there and you spoke to this person, what did you bring back? And it is that sense of getting back to yourself. And that is the beauty of flowers. They do spark off a sense of nostalgia. So that could be a part of you. You need to sort of just, when you're catching your breath and you're talking about the emotion you want to release, that scent of the sweet pea, how did that make you feel? That makes you feel really good and warm. So that sweet pea is like, release this stuff. So when you're releasing, we speak of ourselves as a vessel. When we release emotions from within us, we're letting go so that something else can, something else can replace. So that's like moving up. I can't remember what, it's almost like you've got a stack of something. You take, is it Jenga? You take one from the middle and they all catch up, and it's like, so something else can go on top. It's just like, you've got to reshuffle and remove, because if you holding on to anger, especially, you're blocking things. So you're blocking these pathways for, imagine that emotion being that Jenga piece that you can pull out. So that, because above that anger and below that anger, you've got two little sections of love. We're waiting to meet because we just want to grow. So you move that anger block up and, oh, hey, we're together. So it's like, just remind yourself that there's pockets and spaces within you that need to meet up and to be refilled. So this whole thing, the whole energy is like releasing and catching up with ourselves. And that sweet pea, like with all flowers, it does spark off a sense of nostalgia. So it brings you back to that place. Release that sense of anger that you've got. Think back to a sense of, you might, as you release it, you might find a flower that catches your attention, or something else that might catch your attention as you're coming back and bringing back to yourself. And as you say, that we've got all aspects of elements within us and our zodiac sign. So there could be that part of you that wants, the snapdragon, release, let's put something else in its place. The carnation, you've released it, now trust what somebody else is trying to tell you. There's just so much you can do when you sort of sit back and take notice of what has caught your eye and find out the reasons why.
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful reminder too that like all of the messages, all of the flowers you can benefit from. Like you don't have to just be an earth sign or have planets in earth energy. Like we all have like different amounts of each sign. It's like I'm the least air in my energy. Like my like makeup is the least amount of air sign energy, but there was messages there for me. Like there was things that would resonate when it comes to like what my air energy is. So I love that idea of like just bring a bouquet of the snapdragon and the crocus and the sweet pea and the orange lily and the carnation together and making that the Libra full moon bouquet. And all those,
that's what it is. Just take your part of it. Yeah,
that's awesome. All right, so and we have any questions, please let us know. I think that is it for today and this Libra full moon. If you have not already, please go like and follow Yvette. She's amazing. There's also your Green Stems group. I don't know if that's linked on your business page or not, but that's a beautiful group where you share. Somewhere. Yeah. Okay, good. So like there's tons of amazing information and insight and support in that group as well too. Working with her as well is beautiful. She does, I know I'm talking for you, but you do circles and you you teach people how to do the flower stuff as well too. You read for people and you do energy healings with them. So like there's tons of really goodies if you are enjoying what Yvette has to offer. So go check her out as well. I do readings, I do twin flame coaching, I have programs occasionally as well too. So feel free to check me out as well. I'm gonna leave after I'm done here. I'm gonna come back and put my email list on here. And if you're into twin flames, I've been expanding in that area lately. I've been working with them for a while, but now I'm kind of expanding in the build out mode with that. So I'm gonna leave a link as well too to some resources and whatnot for twin flames if that's something you're interested in. And if you feel like leaving any links to Yvette, please do.
Yep, I'll share that.
All right.
And I'll leave, I'm going to post the flowers that came up as well, so that people can sort of look at those and see if that sparks anything within them.
I like that. Yeah, because the pictures can really help sometimes having the visuals. Yeah. You can get your own energy, like the flowers can speak to you, which is really cool.
Yeah.
All right. So,
so happy full moon, everybody.
Yes.
And if you're going to do some releasing,
Happy full moon.
What time is it? Is it 8 o'clock our
Let
side in
me
the UK?
it is
8 something, I think it is.
Full moon at 2:48 p.m. my time, which currently it's 11:11 a.m. exactly. So 2:48, I think, is 7:48 p.m. your time.
Okay. I know there's 8 minutes. Maybe I guess nearly going to be 8 o'clock. That's
so it's
probably
gonna be a little later. Originally, we were gonna do this live on Friday, but I didn't get any sleep because my cat had to go to the vet and he was awake all night, asking me to go outside, and he's not allowed to go outside right now. Well, now he is, but we were gonna do this on Friday, but I'm glad we're doing it today because we're in the full moon energy.
Yeah.
And the full moon is today, so I think that's perfect. Yeah, thank you everybody for joining, and we will talk to you guys in about 2 weeks' time with the new moon in Taurus, I believe. Where's Aries? Have we had a new moon in Aries? I don't think we've had a new moon in Aries. Nope, the new moon in Aries will be next.
I don't know. I go by what you're saying.
I could be totally wrong then, but no, I think the next one is new moon in Aries. This was the very first full moon of the new astrology year. That will be the first new moon, so that'll be exciting. We'll see you guys there.
Take care. Bye.